location where we last saw him. But our hearts sank because there was no way to do that. So, without my head and in confusion, I said, God, I thought I was doing what you wanted me to do. So we mounted up and we started in the park, and then all of a sudden, they appeared. They had hiding out in some other debris in another area. So I had a translator with me. He went out, he spoke to them, told me he wanted to take them to safety. They went with it. They took them to the orphanage. As we were leaving, the littlest girl, who was 10, in the middle there, came out crying. She wrapped her arms around one of the operators, and I thought she was trying to say, thank you. What she was saying was, you brought by my mother and my little brother now. So for the next 4 days, totally against policy, wondering if we were going to get ambushed, and how we would explain this to the CIA if we were. We made it our mission to go find your mother and little brother, and we reunited them. The refugee camp you see on the right, where we finally found her mother and her little brother, and then we took them to the orphanage. We cut a deal with the orphanage to make sure they had enough food to feed 235 children that were already there from the war-torn situation. And then once I returned to the United States, again inquired about missing children. They weren't a priority. That was it. They weren't a priority. They were seen as runaways by most law enforcement or child protective services. There were jurisdictional issues, there were budget constraints, there were communication barriers between most law enforcement units, and the list just goes on and on and on. Everything you can imagine to prevent children from being rescued existed. And I told myself, something has to be done. And so it began, and I said to myself, there's something bigger than overthrowing governments. I have to understand something. Being a spy is the coolest job in the universe. It is the best. It is the sexiest. It is the most challenging. It is like every person's dream that ever wanted to be a spy. Why would I give that up? If there wasn't something tugging on my heart to such a degree that I would walk away from the one thing I wanted to do in life and would leave to once again. Be a spy. So I did it. I started the Association for the Recovery of Children. 501c3 nonprofit organization of former intelligence, military, and law enforcement officers that are dedicated to the rescue of missing and exploited American children. It's not that we don't care about all children, but for many years after I got started in 1993, all I heard was, it happens over there. It doesn't. It happens here, in our backyard, in our country. So once all local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have been involved, and their efforts have been exhausted, we get involved. And our donations finance our missions, allowing us to do that, as Kelly said, at no cost to the custodial guardians and with no paycheck in the pocket. I want you to listen to this. We do it because it's the right thing to do. That's the way this nation was founded. Because it's the right thing to do. This is why your community is founded. This is why people in South Dakota care. Because it is the right thing to do. Not because you can make money off of it. Not because you can run an NGO and business model and mirror what the temps do in trafficking. You do it because it is the right thing to do. So thus far, we're blessed to have 100% success rate. And every child we don't have here, I'm born with a domestic soul, we brought home. As of 2019, there were close to 421,000 American children missing in the United States. Almost 500,000. Child pornography has become a $3 billion annually. So ask yourself, where do they keep all the kids in order to film them? And ask yourself this, is there a national security issue here? Now, excuse my friend, but I don't give a rat's ass if you don't care about trafficking. You should care about the national security issue. Because if we can traffic children all over the United States undetected, What else can you track? Nuclear weapons, terrorism, guns, drugs, and the list goes on and on and on. So we have a big problem in the United States. The word trafficking that you hear so much about is becoming so commonplace that most people don't even look an eye when they move forward. So let me bring it down to what it really is. Paid child rape. Someone says, I have money, I want a child, anyone in our case under 18, and I'd like to rape that child as many times as I want to. I'd like to torture that child in any form of fashion that I want to. Will you take my money? And someone says, yes, I'll take your money, and I'll give you a child. And that happens every single day right here in the United States. And it probably happens in South Dakota. There's no sugarcoating it. It's the brutal abuse of children. The torture, the beatings, the imprisonment, the burnt cigarettes, things that I would not even do to my worst enemies in an interrogation session. So let me give you an idea of two types of mission that we run for. This is the story of little Gratitude, the little girl you see down there. Her mother was in prison in the United States, got out of prison, along with a Colombian cartel boyfriend. They came back to the United States in Plain, Texas, and kidnapped Willie. Took her back into Mexico, and then extorted the father and the grandparents. He just had a plumbing business in Plain, Texas for money. Not a lot, $50,000 for what? If you have a plumbing business, $50,000 is only a lot of money in Plain, Texas. And that's what they wanted. And so they took her down to Mexico, and the U.S. government, members of the U.S. government, the federal services, refused to get involved. And I'll tell you why. Because the father, Corey Gratitude, had a felony for something he did when he was like 19 years old. And because that was on integrity of service time, they wanted nothing to do with him, even at the expense of the daughter's life. They told us, don't come here. But what are we going to do? We went there, of course. But we did. So we went down to Mexico. We got with the Mexican Special Forces guys that we had worked with before. They became our shooters because we weren't allowed to carry weapons into Mexico. And we went down and stayed in a hotel. And this was only after the mother said that if she did not get the money, she would sell her daughter into prostitution in Mexico. Willow was 7 years old. So we went down, stood in a hotel, tried to negotiate with the kidnappers, and they would never meet us and where we wanted to meet them for the exchange. And so I did bring some money down there. I got them down for $50,000, believe it or not, for $5,000. We're on the phone with them, and I said, okay, we'll meet at a certain location. And they said, no, we won't meet there. Hang on, let me call. And they called back. They said, we need another meeting place. I was like, okay, we'll meet at this location. And they just got me back and forth until finally I played the part that I don't like to play, which is fine. You keep a little bit. We'll turn this over to Interpol. They'll hunt you down, we'll put you on, and we're going to do some things. I don't know if it's do that or not, but it sounds good. And I got the phone, called back again, and I said, would you like to meet? And he said, no, we're not sure. We're going to move on. And in the background, you could hear the mother screaming, we want the money! We want the money! It's like, okay, great. So I thought, well, I'll do something else. Do something good. So all of a sudden I said, you know what? I need to go look out the window. There he goes, and you can walk into the building. Then he went back and said, okay, senor, what do you think? Now, I had absolutely no idea what he saw. So we met them at a location, a big old chapel. I snuck up behind him, tapped him on the shoulder. He's scared. I said, hey, let's go in here and pray. The reason I did that is because in the Catholic Church, there's a Jews that there are little things to do about them. Forgive me for not knowing what we call those, except for the little things to do about them. Um, and I had the money in my boots, so I had to kneel down, pull the money out of my boots, handed him the money, he counted the money, and I told him, I said, look, here's the deal. I have shooters outside. And we're going to walk across this long Vatican Square like me. And I said, if anything happens, I said, well, we're going to shoot. We understood that. And as we walked across, as we were getting closer and closer to where Willow was being captured, my team was already behind the gas because I was so grateful. And we made the exchange. I told Willow, I said, Willow, I said, we're here to take you back to the United States. Your father sent us. And we did that. Good smile on his face. Yes, please. We took her back to the American Embassy, showed up. Someone from the American Embassy came back and said, what are you doing here? Did you not go? They said, don't come to Mexico. And I think we got it. He's like, don't lie to me. And I was like, I think we got it. He said, why are you here? I'm like, well, let's see, American kid kidnapped, use a passport, and you're a former CIA officer in Mexico. I don't think you want that communicated with maybe you should want that. He says, wait here, I'm going to go talk to my boss. He goes, this is going to be what it does. He goes upstairs, 20 minutes later he comes down, and four wonderful women from social services come down to take Willow. They go into the process of for the passport. He pulls me aside and he says, off the record, he goes, I've done something to do. So the reason I tell you that is there are a lot of people that are in bureaucracy that want to do the right thing, but they can't. So just always remember that. Sometimes it's not the whole government, it's not the whole bureaucracy. Sometimes it's the politics. So that turned out to be a really cool story. The only thing she wanted on the airplane when we left was, get this, milk and a party. She just wanted milk and a party. Cool. And we got back, there was a little welcoming committee, you see that. They welcomed her, and every year, little Willow, who's now 16 or 17, still does the same thing she did from the time we got back in the United States. She goes, Mr. Boz, could you come to my birthday party, please? Please, yeah. And I can't, I'd love to, but we're always operational, so anyway, that turned out to be a good story. But here's a different story. This is Nikki. Nikki was sold to her parents by her parents when she was 7 years old. This is a picture of her as she was being trafficked. We got her out of trafficking to 21. She got into trafficking after she was sold by her parents until she was, and then she had everything. She was auctioned off. She had a barcode that stood for, and a number that stood for sex and labor. She had been committed crimes. She was trafficked in the highest echelon of perpetrators in the United States. She was flown all over the world. And eventually, around age 19, she made a breakthrough. She got out and she sought refuge at a very large Baptist church. They could have been a Methodist church, could have been a Lutheran church, could have been a Baptist church. I'm just saying, because I only Lutherans and Methodists kind of coincide. More Baptists, okay? I love God. All right. So, but she went there and she got involved in the girls in youth program. It was run by a youth pastor. And felt safe, really safe. Thought you never have to go back to life. For you that don't know, we call it the life. And on a given night, when they were going to have a girls' sleepover, she showed up at the youth pastor's house, and she was the only person there. Strangely, all the other girls didn't show up. So the youth pastor said, look, we'll just have a sleepover ourselves. We'll change into bed. So she goes to change, just got a little guy with her. And when she goes into bed, and she didn't notice there was a padlock on the outside of the door. She got locked in. And she banged on the door, and she thought it was a ghost. And I remember her telling me the story, and she thought they were just kidding. And that's it. About 30 minutes later, the door opened. And in stepped the youth pastor and a law enforcement officer. And they brutally raped her, took her out, and put her in trafficking. Her handler became the Baptist youth pastor, and her enforcer became the law enforcement officer who, by the way, to this day, still runs the human trafficking division of Redmond. She finally broke away again. We helped get her out. She was about 21 by now. We wrote up the intel report. It's 93 pages. It was submitted to the Department of Justice, and hopefully they're still working on it. With the change of administration now from Trump to the Biden administration, that's what we don't know what will happen. But on a given day, she sat with us and said she was going back to the people that loved her. Now, she had been so brainwashed by this youth pastor that she actually believed that her purpose was to be a slave. That God sent her to be a slave, and that's all she knew, and that's what she'd been brainwashed to believe. And she also believed that there are people that tortured her, while she would never want them to torture other children, it was okay for them to do that to her, because it loved her. So a lot of times when people go, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just get out of it? If you know anything about brainwashing, if you know anything about psychology, it's not that easy. So, she's sitting on the park bench in Manhattan Beach, California. And she says, I'm going to go back to the people that love me. And we're going, don't go back to them. Don't leave. That is her choice. So she goes back. We don't hear from her for about 30 days. Then one day, we get a call from one of our assets, Footprint. And he is someone who had been trafficked, who got out of life, who was working at another NGO, who was also providing us with a lot of good advice. And she calls and she says, something just happened, I need to talk to you. She says, the FBI called me, and they asked me to come down to Houston, Texas, to identify a body. I went down, they picked me up in a blacked out sedan. They drove me to a nondescript building, took me into a nondescript room, and there were 4 body bags there. You know, 4 body bags because Nikki's body had been chopped up in so many pieces. They were collected in 4 body bags. So they were in a body tattoo we have Nikki's face and the whole thing. But strangely though, they started interrogating me, what I knew. And I got scared and I told them, look, my church is expecting me. We're going to Christmas on a mission trip tomorrow. I gotta go. And she said, so they put me in the car, they flew me back, and I got back here, and I'm just telling you guys, Nikki's not lying. So, okay, so I called the FBI, and my bureau said, we don't find anything anyway. Then we checked the flights, Southwest Airlines. Guess what? Somebody managed to erase an entire flight. In fact, they had erased the 4 last flights that she had been on in Southwest Airlines. So who is that sophisticated that they can fly someone down, they can erase things off people's records, they can do all of that? It's not your average temp, I'll tell you that much. So that means we're dealing with organized crime at some of our highest levels, very sophisticated. You know why? Because what did I say? $3 billion in child pornography. That's a big business model. That's a lot of money for a lot of people. So we're dealing with a very sophisticated enemy who wants what they want. Now, how did this go wrong? I'm going to tell you how it went wrong. That same report that we gave the Department of Justice, we sent to the integrity unit of that police unit. Guess what? They leaked it out to the guy that heads up the department in trafficking division. We call this witness disclosure. There was absolutely no way they were going to let that girl testify against him and part of the department. So corruption, when it comes to trafficking, is literally off the charts. So for we that are involved in this world of trafficking, it's just not about people selling people. It's about how they sell people and what they do. Now, given the nature of what has transpired in the United States of America recently, I think the word corruption, everybody knows what it means. And it's very So this is what we're up against these days. Not just the kid that's being sold here, but the 421,000 children that are being sold across our nation. So the protection of American children is simply this. It's our duty. You never turn your duty. It's like an obligation. It's what you signed up for. Now you might not have thought you signed up for it, but when God put you on this earth, you did sign up for it. You're responsible. What you fail to do in life can create a lot of problems for the rest of the world. So the hearing and the reading of this whole trafficking issue may be useful, but the men and women rest on this hearing and praying, as so many in America do. It's as if a tree could value itself on being watered and putting forth leaves, so it never produces anything. The fact is, a child does not come home until there are boots on the ground. They go out and pull the child from the field and bring the child home. Remember when we used to put missing children's faces on milk cartons? And you would get the milk carton and you would look at the child's face and you would think you've done something about it by looking at the picture on the milk carton. Most of America does. But at the end of the day, what happened to that milk carton? In the garbage, right? So nothing actually really got done. That's kind of where we are with all of this in America. Most people spend a lifetime wondering if they made a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have that problem. And I don't want you to have that problem. When it comes to rescuing children or traffic victims, it's simply stated that we do not, who will? If you don't, who will? In Rapid City, if you don't, who will? I'm not here. I'm in Colorado, and I'm all over the world. I'd love to come here and do it for you. But if you don't, who will? No doubt about it. These are God's children. And He's speaking to each of us in a world with unprecedented evil that's out to destroy our children. If we allow our children to exist in a dysfunctional environment, then they'll grow up to be dysfunctional adults. Is that who you want as your neighbor? Is that who you want running the country? Is that who you want as the judge? So let me ask you a question. How do you murder a child without killing them? You sexually educate them. There's a spiritual component to every human being. It's called the soul. When children are trafficked, molested, abused, exploited, their soul is ripped from their very being. I have stood in front of little children on my knees and looked inside their eyes and explored. It's nothing there. Each of you knows that to be true. Just take a moment to look inside yourself. If you were a child in the same situation, would you not want somebody to come rescue you? Therefore, I implore you not to shy away from your duty to prevent our children from being exploited. My father said there's only two types of people in the world: his followers and his leaders. That's it. Now I think I know enough about South Dakota and the people in this room to say that sitting before me right now is a room full of leaders. And people that are willing to say, when you leave here today, this is not going to happen in my life. I'm not here to show you how to fill positions of prominence, but positions of obedience and responsibility and integrity and perseverance. What we do takes great leadership. And great leaders have the mark of dedication, initiative, and hard work. It contributes to the overall mission accomplishment, which is saving our children. You have that. Many of you have that. You may be. The mission must be bigger than the person. If you wish to be great, commit to something greater than yourself. Whatever you intend to be great at, you must have such a priority in your life that you'll stop at nothing to achieve it. It must be more than just an idea or a nice thing to do. It must be a call. If you're not called to do this, don't do it. I tell you that right now. You don't feel called to do it? Don't. Don't get in the way. Step aside and let people who really want to do this do it. You'll know the difference because there'll be a gnawing at your soul that won't go away. The way you're about to accomplish must be done at all costs, even at the expense of your own comfort, and in many cases, at the expense of your own life. And in the process, you will face obstacles. We all do. For the untrained mind, the obstacle becomes a hardship. For the trained mind, an obstacle is something simply goes right. So if you get into this, you have to be more than just aware of this problem. You have to get trained up to do something about the problem. Now I know there's some of you sitting out there right now that are saying, well, that's easy for you, Mr. CIA Special Operations guy, because you got all the training. Okay, thank you. Let me tell you something. You and I have one thing in common. It's the most important thing. We both have 24 hours in a day. So what are you doing with it? I want you to find your value in who you are, because until you do that, you won't be able to go down the track. Not in what you do. At the end of the day, people won't care or remember the good deeds you do, unless you've written some history book. But they will remember your character, how you treated them in accomplishing those deeds, what type of courage you displayed, and the moral compass you used to remain fair and compassionate and wise. You might have a few medals and you wanted to show you down and but honestly, who in the civilian world can tell you what all this is about? They might think you look great as you're all that bag of chips when they speak to you, but when they speak to you, they size you up on who you are, not what you think. But all of us that have been downrange in civilian time, guess what? Well, we're different now. What comes out of your mouth better be polished and better be impressive in a way that says, I can leave you a picture. Now, if you're sitting there right now wondering how you could step up to the plate with this so-called call to action that I'm talking about, rescuing children, and you're still a little laughing at it, let me say this. If I have if I have 99 cents in my pocket, and I take it to the bank and I ask them to give me $1, will they do it? No. Why? They don't want to take it short. It's that one penny that completes the dollar. The one penny is actually the most important part. Without it, we're financially incomplete. So for all of you out there that feel like you might go along and simplify with this, just realize you have to do that one thing. The most important part, and may very well be you that completes the efforts of the NGO struggling to win the war with trafficking. Never forget this. One man or one woman of courage is an adult. One man or one woman with courage is an adult. As I look out in the crowd here, I see you thinking, maybe, taking children isn't that prestigious. Or maybe it's not prestigious enough for me. And you probably friends because you say, no one in the audience would be like that. No, except for the people that want something out of it other than saving it. Except for those people that spend all their life in nothing but making money and never give to saving the life of the child. So they're out there. I can see that because I was a spy, and you know, spies have secret powers. Here's what I tell you. Surrender your desire for prestige. I remember a story about a pastor who attended a seminary and knew that once he got his master's degree and then his doctorate degree, he no longer had to drive a practical car, the one with band-aids on the door, chipped paint, and some faded glue that looks like acid rain hit everyone. Anybody got that like that? How about the kind that blows smoke out the tailpipe because oil's running and seagulls and diesel is a bombing range every day? Sent your body. It was an embarrassment to say the least, but it was all he could afford. And it did not reflect the status of anyone in a college degree. He pulled up to the university parking lot and sat there telling God his plans for one day, very soon, have a more prestigious class, something that reflected his position as a theologian. All of a sudden he hears tick, 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 as another cracked car pulls up and parks right down there. He looks up at God and says, well, thank you, God. At least I'm not the only one that cracked the car. Someone can show my favor. And as he looked over, who do you think it was? It was the head of the theology class. He looked back at the God and said, oh great, now I can aspire to get my doctorate and have a much better doctorate. You see, the guy in the other car, the head of the theology class, he'd care less what he was about, because it wasn't about prestige. He was comfortable in who he was. Sometimes we think we're holding on to possessions, but in reality, they're holding on to us. We're deceived in thinking a lot of things are essential when they're not. I tell you can make all the money in the world, and it's not as important as saving one life. I've been in this work for 27 plus years now, and one day I've seen as much as the other side of traffic as I could. Just like all the devastation I saw in Somalia in 1993. I paddled out on my surfboard late in the evening, and as the sun settled on the horizon and the new moon crested the heavens, I looked back at God and said again, dear God, I see more of this stuff now in words. Why aren't you doing something about this? And as clear as day, once again, just like in 1993, he said, I did, I created you. And so guess what? I tell you the same thing. He did. And he is. He created each and every one of you in the room. It is not by chance that you are here. He is doing something about it. Now, to set up with something like this and listening to somebody like me speak about this stuff, but once you leave here, you don't have an excuse. You leave from here and you don't do something about this situation that exists in South Dakota. I don't know how you live with yourself. I found the greatest leaders in my life to be warriors, and many of them are right alongside our saving children. Warriors know there's no Asian Americans, there's no African Americans, there's no Irish Americans, well, it's Americans. If you believe otherwise, take a trip with me down range when I'm dragging some of my buddies out of the trenches. We all believe the same cause. There's no diversity of in our ranks or in the soul of the true warrior. Only unity. The warrior's strength is measured by the size of their heart. You show love, honor, and respect. You stand and fight in the face of adversity for the things and the ones you love, like children, and the Constitution of the United States. Unashamedly, you are the voice. To all of you. Unashamedly. You are their voice. Voices that are being silenced every single day by critical perpetrators. You are their shield. You lead by example, always remembering who you are. If you do this, you'll create a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that's great on the outside. And this takes me to the most important part of this presentation. Where do victims go after we rescue them? They go to a safe environment for survivors or any form of sexual trauma, and specific focus on commercial sex trafficking. A place that will help free those in bondage, whether physically, spiritually, or emotionally, and advocate for a future that they can prosper. That place is treasured life, not like God, again. These are the people that do more than apply band-aids. They perform surgery on the soul. They dedicate almost every waking hour to those who have been abused and restore them with God's help to a place of calm and hope. Now, that may appear what I and my organization do is the exciting stuff. But trust me, without organizations like Treasured Lives, Valley and Dream, our work would be in vain. Make no doubt about it, the work they do is not always safe. At any moment, in MS-13, the cartel, the Bloods of Crips, the Gershon, and other perpetrators become knocking on their door demanding that their property be returned. Do you really think those babies are going to do that? I don't think so. So they have great courage. They're the brave ones, the ones we honor here today, in my opinion. I'm grateful to be speaking, but they're in South Korea. They're the ones who do the work. So girls, let me leave you and your entire staff and the entire room with this. I do not teach my strike force recovery team to be safe. I teach them to be brave. There's nothing safe about Afghanistan, Angola, Iraq, and there's nothing safe about what we do in Western children and what we do to provide them a place to live. And there'll be nothing safe about the life you embark upon for all of you when you leave here tonight and drive down the highway, or the fate of the nation during these tumultuous times. If you feel the slightest bit of apprehension regarding how you brave the seas of deception and criticism and lack of support in this world, but trust me, not everybody's going to step up to the plate. Just remember what I said. One man and one woman of courage is an enjoyment. And God bless each of you, and may God bless this great country of ours, the United States. Amen. Thank you.
I'm not sure what else there is to say after that, but as normal, I have a few things. First of all, I mentioned before that we couldn't do this alone, and we really can't. We need volunteers, we need people to work with our clients, we need people to give money and help us fund the things that God has called us to do. And I see so many people in this audience that there are people who already work with us, there are people who are doing other things to make a difference in this community, and we so appreciate all of you as well and what you're doing to make this world a better place. I also want to say that even though Boz called us brave, I wouldn't say that we're brave. I think that we are passionate because we've experienced things in our lives that we would never wish on anyone else. But I also want to say that God is a great healer. He is a great overcomer. One of the reasons, like Kelly said, that we like to laugh so much and play so much and have fun is because we do know what the other side of life is like. We've suffered great pain, but we're not the only ones who have suffered great pain. Each one of you has a story you could share of your own, the things that you've been through yourself. And I'm so thankful that God makes each one of us so resilient. It's horrible the things that happen in trafficking. It's horrible when there's any kind of abuse. It's awful. You wouldn't wish it on anybody. God gives us ways to heal. He gives us ways to grow. He gives us ways to share those awful things with other people so that it makes a difference, so that it matters in somebody else's life. And that's really, besides wanting to spare people and help people get out of the deep hole that they're in, the place of no hope, really our biggest calling in life, I think, is to provide hope and healing for those who are lost, for those who are afraid, for those who have no hope. And we're not alone in that. You guys have a role in that as well. Every single one of us, whether it's somebody you meet on the street or whoever it is, we each have opportunities every single day to make a difference and an impact in everyone's lives. And I just want to say, like Boz said, don't do it. Go forth. Go do the things that God's asking you to do. But as far as Treasured Lives is concerned, one way that you can do that, a couple of ways. First of all, if you are interested in helping us, help the clients that we see, you can give up your time. And if you're interested in doing that, you can go to that back table and you can speak with Shell. And Shell, our volunteers back there will help you figure that out. In your bulletins, there are lots of different ways you can give up your time as well. But in your little bulletin here is our website and our phone number and our email address. If you'd like more information, would you please contact us? Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how we can help you help us. Or if you know someone who's lost and hurting, we'd love to help them as well. And then also, in your brochures, you've got this little donation card. If you would fill this out, even if you just would like to be a part of our mailing list, which we're kind of working on, this gives you a place to put your name, your address, and your phone number if you'd like more information about us. And then also, there's a method of payment on here. You can, at our table back here, we have a square. If you'd like to give a donation by credit card today, we can take that. Otherwise, if you would, if you're so inclined to give us a donation, you can put it in this envelope and take it back to that back table as well. So this ends this portion of our evening, our afternoon, and I just want to say thank you again so much for coming. If you're here for the VIP part of our event, that will start. We plan to start at 6. I don't know what time it is now, but you can just go through those back doors and go around to the other side here. And we'll be in this building right next to us. This portion of the room. It's called the room. We'll be in that room right next to us.